We know the dark side is a world of symbols and hidden meanings, an inverted world, portrayed by the saying, as above, so below, popularized by Crowley, masters of the Golden Dawn. The Micah Francis case is deep and full of chaos. Why? Demonic involvement, spiritual contracts, initiated by bloodlines? Let's investigate possibilities. The fruit of this case is chaos. Let's expose the darkness together. Let's look into symbols associated with the Micah Miller case and see if there is anything to decode. This is an expression of ideas not meant as any more than education or entertainment. You may be surprised to see what we have found. Let me know your thoughts and ideas in the comments. Please also like and subscribe. Maybe there is nothing there, but I just can't drop this unseen connection, but I sense it is there. If it is, I will find the dots to connect. If not, then no. Please join me as I go down the Freemason, Solid Rock Church connection rabbit hole to find what we find. This is Chevy Cool Lady, investigating and opinionating. This is a safe place to discuss ideas about news, current events, mysteries, and history. Please like and subscribe if this channel suits your fancy. Welcome back all my cool subs. Grab a snack and let's take a look. Let's start with the hidden meanings of Micah's name. Micah, Acacia. We have been investigating this heart-wrenching story from the beginning, and at this point, we want to see it through till the end. When we can say justice for Micah was served, in that, she did not live in vain. She is the hero of the story, by making it one of ultimate triumph for all women in South Carolina and everywhere, over coercive control and domestic abuse. We support the Francis family and in their fight for truth. Micah is a beautiful first name. I will study it in just a minute. We will look at her second name first. In Hebrew scriptures, acacia is a sacred wood. It was used to make sacred furniture for the altar of God. An altar is a place of sacrifice and a memorial. The Ark of the Covenant and the tabernacle were all made from acacia, a type of the Holy of Holies, reminding us of the holiness of God. The life of Micah Acacia was sacred and now is being used in God's service also, to carry her story far and wide. It's not about her death, but the fact that she didn't get to live her life. I believe her spirit was crushed through coercion. It's very dark. Let's bring this spiritual wickedness to light. This story is full of it. Is it by degree? In no known way was Micah associated with this group. The connection is purely happenstance. In Freemasonry, acacia is a symbol of the immortality of the soul. Immortality of the soul, or eternal life. The name Micah has both Latin and Hebrew origins. Translates to the question, who is like God? In Latin, Micah comes from the name Amica, meaning loved friend. This seems like a fitting first name, a symbol of faith and a definition of beloved friend. The male version of the name, Micah, is one of the 12 minor prophets of the Old Testament. This is also the name of a separate person in the book of Judges, the keeper of an idol. This is very interesting in light of the way the Micah Francis case has turned into a cry for social justice, echoing the biblical prophet's call. Micah is a significant figure in the Bible, known for his powerful messages of judgment and hope. Micah's legacy is one of calling people back to righteousness and justice, emphasizing that true worship of God involves acting justly, loving mercy, and walking humbly with God. Micah 6 verse 8. What does the Lord require of us? There are times the Bible challenges, corrects, and rebukes. This verse does all three. The family website says this was Micah's favorite verse. I don't know how often you think about what the Lord requires of you, but He provides an answer here in Micah. As followers of Jesus Christ, we must live out this verse in our lives every day, especially if we want to represent Christ well on the earth. This evergreen is an emblem of our faith in the immortality of the soul. By this, we are reminded that we have an immortal part within us, which shall survive the grave, and which shall never, never, never die. This statement is used during Masonic funeral rites. Interesting. When I look at these beautiful pictures, which I took from the church's website, I think, wow, JP, you had it all. You really had it all. Even after your fall from grace with your first wife, Allison, God restored you and gave you a beautiful woman and a church that looked excited to participate in a whole lot of fun-looking events. But sin ruined it all. And it ruined Micah. And it ruined you. It ruined the church family and devastated your own kids. That is such a shame. I have no idea if there is a connection to secret societies. But JP had his own secret society, full of secrets. Secrets and lies. But you got real sloppy, JP. Everything changed, in your words, on March 11th. But actually, that change that is irrevocable is the change that happened April 27th. The change that happened at Lumber River State Park, a river that is called Blackwater Tea. The dark murky waters that run through the most dangerous town in North Carolina. The change that took Micah's life away. Let's take a look at the symbols of North Carolina and Lumber River State Park. In a world run by devils, we see signs and sigils. In every state and every state park, the signs indicate Luciferian connections and places of sacrifice. Was the Lumber River such a place where a sacrifice was made? We don't know. This is just speculation. If you have any idea how to decode these signs, please comment in the box below. I would love to learn more. But one thing we know, it's all hidden in plain sight. The waterways are full of contracts made to devils. Leviathan is the ruler of the water. Jesus walked on water to show his dominion over the demonic kingdoms located in the water. Did the demons of the water demand a sacrifice? Was it due to bloodline contracts? Or for promotion? Or a special deal, like the deal of an expensive item, like a plane, which happened to be bought just 12 days after Micah's death? So, let's look at the number 12. Justice for Micah has become a push for laws in South Carolina to change, to include abusive and coercive control. This bill refers to a pattern of behavior used to dominate, manipulate, and intimidate another person with an intimate and familiar relationship. She said acts include threats, humiliation, emotional abuse, and isolation. Behavior used to manipulate or harm an individual. Regina Ward, attorney for the Francis family, compiled what she called Micah's List, allegations taken from Miller's spoken words, journals, and other writings she left behind. The list was used to show examples of abusive coercive control. Here's just a bit of the backstory, as there are many videos concerning Micah's tragedy. This video is looking for hidden meanings and symbols, intentional or not. Names are very important. We see that in the Bible in multiple places. Here is the timeline of that fateful day. There are still more questions than answers, but somehow, with enough eyes and thoughts, maybe we can make sense of it all. Maybe not. The cry continues, justice for Micah, and a plea to st domestic violence and coercive control. Micah was kept like a prisoner at beat and made to feel worthless, despite the tremendous work she did at the church. Micah had very little support because people like J.P. Miller isolate and blame the problems on her family and friends and never accept responsibility themselves. In tarot symbolism, the number 12 is associated with the Hanged Man card. This card carries deep spiritual and symbolic meanings. Sacrifice and letting go. The Hanged Man represents the idea of self-sacrifice and the need to let go of something to gain a new perspective or insight. Interesting. Occult symbols are codes which contain hidden knowledge. These symbols reflect the Kabbal's principles and show other occultists where ritual places are located. The letters on the sign show where the Freemasons are located in that state also. It's a hidden language. The Order of Golden Dawn is big in Myrtle Beach. The big golden sun is the symbol. We see that located on the park sign in the upper left side. Working our way from the left, we see groups of trees. This looks very specific to me. Freemasonry and Leviathan. Some sources suggest that involvement in certain secret societies, like the Freemasons, can lead to a spiritual affliction known as the Leviathan curse. This curse is believed to be passed down through generations and is associated with various physical and emotional ailment. Is there a connection to a generational Freemason curse in the Micah and J.P. Miller case? It has been reported that J.P.'s father is a Freemason. Was Micah's pure heart a sacrifice for the Millers to gain power? In some contexts, Leviathan is portrayed as a powerful entity requiring significant sacrifices to summon or appease. For example, in the game Soul Sacrifice, characters undergo transformations and make sacrifices to gain the power of Leviathan. Sometimes I think the games have a lot of digital reality portrayed in them. The Leviathan curse is often associated with the Leviathan spirit, a demonic entity mentioned in various religious and spiritual contexts. Here are some key aspects. Generational curse. The Leviathan curse is believed to be a generational curse, passed down through family lines, particularly if ancestors were involved in secret societies like the Freemasons one. This curse can manifest as physical ailments such as scoliosis, back pain, and neck tightness, as well as emotional and spiritual issues like insomnia and anxiety. Pride and arrogance. The Leviathan spirit is often linked to pride and arrogance. It is said to cause division, confusion, and chaos in relationships and communities. This spirit can also attack the mind, leading to feelings of hopelessness, depression, and anxiety. Biblical references. In the Bible, Leviathan is described as a powerful and fearsome creature. For example, in the book of Job, Leviathan is depicted as a monstrous sea creature that cannot be tamed by humans. This imagery is often used to symbolize the overwhelming and destructive nature of the Leviathan spirit. Breaking the curse. Overcoming the Leviathan curse typically involves spiritual practices such as prayer, repentance, and deliverance. It is believed that humility and seeking God's grace are essential to breaking free from this curse. The connection between Leviathan and Freemasonry is often discussed in the context of spiritual beliefs and conspiracy theories. Here are some key points. Leviathan spirit. In some spiritual circles, the Leviathan spirit is considered a demonic entity associated with pride, chaos, and destruction. It is believed to cause various physical and emotional ailments, such as scoliosis, back pain, and anxiety. This spirit is sometimes linked to generational curses, particularly in families with a history of involvement in secret societies like the Freemasons. So, how does one get the Leviathan spirit? You can receive it through significant emotional wounds from your father or mother. But you can also receive it if you had a father, grandfather, or great-grandfather that was involved in the Freemasons due to a curse that comes down through the bloodline because of things done in secret. The Leviathan spirit can afflict generations within the same family, especially if the father, grandfathers, great-grandfathers, or earlier ancestry on either the mother or father's side was involved in the Blue Lodge, Freemasons, Scottish Rite or York Rite, and Shriners. Members of those organizations pledge secret oaths to Allah and against Christianity. If members ever shared what went on in their meetings, they pledge vows of torture. Historically, Freemasons were known for their secrecy and a way to obtain more business contacts, and thus become more financially successful. Many policemen, government, banking, and other business-related men looking for connections were common members. Worship does occur in Masonic lodges. One of the primary purposes of Freemasonry is worship. Masons worship a god which they call the Great Architect of the Universe. The symbol they have chosen to represent their god is the all-seeing eye, which the Egyptians used to represent their pagan god, Osiris. Since Freemasonry teaches a false plan of salvation, Masons are not following in the teachings of Jesus Christ. 2 John 1 verse 9 says, "Whoever transgresses and does not abide in the doctrine of Christ does not have God. He who abides in the doctrine of Christ has both the Father and the Son." They sacrifice to demons and not to God, and I do not want you to have fellowship with demons. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons. You cannot partake of the Lord's table and of the table of demons. This confirms that the sacrifices of pagans are offered to demons, rather than God. If an ancestor has ever been a Grand Master of a lodge or initiated into high-level witchcraft, the Leviathan spirit will increase into what is known as the Leviathan curse. Mental illness, persistent feelings of anxiety, and neck or back pain are signs that one may be under the Leviathan curse. Pride, a critical spirit, confusion, stupor, impatience, a lying tongue, deception, and contention, discord, hate, murder. In Proverbs, these 6 things the Lord hates. Yes, 7 are an abomination to him: a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that are swift in running to evil, a false witness who speaks lies, and one who sows discord among brethren. When we see these things, we may be dealing with the Leviathan spirit. 1. Can you draw out Leviathan with a hook, or snare his tongue with a line which you lower? 2. Can you put a reed through his nose, or pierce his jaw with a hook? 3. Will he make many supplications to you? Will he speak softly to you? For will he make a covenant with you? Will you take him as a servant forever? 5. Will you play with him as with a bird? Or will you leash him for your maidens? 6. Will your companions make a banquet of him? Will they apportion him among the merchants? 7. Can you fill his skin with harpoons, or his head with fishing spears? 8. Lay your hand on him. Remember the battle. Never do it again. 9. Indeed, any hope of overcoming him is false. Shall one not be overwhelmed at the sight of him? 10. No one is so fierce that he would dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand against me? 11. Who has preceded me, that I should pay him? Everything under heaven is mine. 12. I will not conceal his limbs, his mighty power, or his graceful proportions. 13. Who can remove his outer coat? Who can approach him with a double bridle? 14. Who can open the doors of his face, with his terrible teeth all around? 15. His rows of scales are his pride, shut up tightly as with a seal. 16. One is so near another that no air can come between them. 17. They are joined one to another. They stick together and cannot be parted. 18. His sneezings flash forth light, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. 19. Out of his mouth go burning lights. Sparks of fire shoot out. 20. Smoke goes out of his nostrils, as from a boiling pot and burning rushes. 21. His breath kindles coals, and a flame goes out of his mouth. 22. Strength dwells in his neck, and sorrow dances before him. 23. The folds of his flesh are joined together. They are firm on him and cannot be moved. 24. His heart is as hard as stone, even as hard as the lower millstone. 25. When he raises himself up, the mighty are afraid. Because of his crashings they are beside themselves. 26. Though the sword reaches him, it cannot avail, nor does spear, dart, or javelin. 27. He regards iron as straw, and bronze as rotten wood. 28. The arrow cannot make him flee. Sling stones become like stubble to him. 29. Darts are regarded as straw. He laughs at the threat of javelins. 30. His undersides are like sharp potsherds. He spreads pointed marks in the mire. 31. He makes the deep boil like a pot. He makes the sea like a pot of ointment. 32. He leaves a shining wake behind him. One would think the deep had white hair. 33. On earth there is nothing like him, which is made without fear. 34. He beholds every high thing. He is king over all the children of pride. Interesting. The sign or sigil for the river park looks remarkably like a snake. It is interesting to see the Hermetic or Order of the Golden Dawn branch of the Freemasons use this symbol, called the Way of the Snake, or the Path Less Taken. It reminds me of the forbidden path that Micah took. Early history narrative goes like this. The river was originally called Drowning Creek by European settlers. This name is still used for its headwaters. I assume this is a dangerous area, but it was hard to find the history. This river was vital to the development of the South. It was used for industry and transportation. And we know who runs industry. The river is used for currency. It is also the only Blackwater River in North Carolina to be designated as a National Wild and Scenic River by the Department of the Interior. These are departments in the system that govern this river. And they tell us how the departments are funded, and who hold and makes contracts with the principalities over the area. It's more demonic than you think, but the Bible backs my words. Have you visited the Lumber River or heard any other interesting stories about it? Do you have information on the contracts of this area? Please comment in the box below. Was Micah led by demonic forces rather than just alleged mental illness? I think so. Was JP responsible? I don't know, but I think he acted in devilish ways, led by the devil. Cursed by generational curses and familiar spirits. Yes, I think so. What contracts were made in the previous generations? Was she entangled by them? I think so. These are my opinions. I think Micah was a sweet soul and was trapped in a matter that became overwhelming to her. My prayers are with the family.